Well, I would like to say if it's good evening over there, because it is surely about to turn nighttime over here on the East Coast. My name is Gina Walls, and for some, I probably have met. If not, I would love to meet you guys in the near future. Thank you so much for taking the class and having the time and the appreciation to actually hear what I have to say when it comes to the whole world of biomedical engineering. So, we are going to begin with slide one, if it tends to work with us. All right. So, if you want to know a little bit about me, for me being in this field, I have finished a contracting job with Loyal Source Government Services. If anybody's familiar with that company, it is a contracting company that actually puts biomeds from East Coast to the West Coast, even overseas. Currently, after I finished my contract, I was hired as a COVID-19 emergency personnel for respiratory specialist in training. Um, Now, I have switched disciplines for a small season from biomedical to industrial, but I will let you know how that has completely had a very seamless transfer within our area of our career. Um, Hopefully, by the end of this year, I will be a doctor, so let's go ahead and cross our fingers. And also, I will be sitting on the chair for the radiology station that is held in Harbin, China, in the Fifth Hospital of Heilongjiang. And of course, if you have not, please, I advise you to go and meet the MedRich people along with technicians. They were very kind and considerate to write about me earlier this year. And of course, I've sung their praises for years and years. So please go on ahead and support them as well as you guys are supporting this class. So, first thing we're going to cover, other than the credentials, I just want to let you guys know that I am certified to do this in so many ways, but I'm not going to go down the whole entire line. Just know I started off as an intern for Department of Veteran Affairs in Indianapolis, Indiana. My chief, who I still remember to this day, her name was Jennifer DeFrancesco. She was a very awesome woman who has started me in this whole entire line of biomedical engineering. So for her, I'm truly grateful. And everything that she has taught, I have never had it failed me. So hopefully some of the things that she has given unto me, I can give unto you today. Biomed 101. I know this is not a college or a university, but not many people know our name or what we do in anything that we have accomplished. So the questions that we're going to be covering today is, what is biomedical engineering? Usually this is just a small reprobate just to let people know about us, our field, and what we do. What is the most common positions of this field, and what does the environment entail? Usually when people think of engineering, they think of these grand model structures, and people don't know we actually give something on a smaller scale, just as a thermometer. Are there certain equipment that are just in your jurisdiction? And computers. I'm going to give you guys the real answer. It is no equipment is going to be out of your jurisdiction. And yes, the field is now starting to progress into computers. So hopefully you guys have some form of training, coding, networking. If not, then hopefully the tips I give to you today can help you out. Is there any way to be recognized for promotion in this field? Usually when we think of this job, we would think of being a technician all of our lives. We never understood that there were more aspects of this career than just being a tech. So we will be discovering that today as well. What kind of certification, trainings, and or classes you may entail for the job? There are a lot of classes and a lot of opportunities for you to actually not only make yourself better in the field, but also to make everybody else truly understand your worth when it comes to education. What is the culture in the biomedical community? That is a really great question. I've gotten that about 2 years ago, and I finally came up with an answer. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. And lastly, what does success look like in your field? So, what is my title? Everybody is not a biomedical engineer. And I use air quotes because there are so many types of positions and titles in this field that I am just completely grateful to learn and to understand. So, in other cases, people will try to separate you as saying an engineer is an application of engineering principles, as in a technician, all they do is just fix things. Now, to be quite honest, both of them are intertwined because without an engineer, you can't be a tech. Without a tech, you don't have the potential to be an engineer. But that's just my personal opinion. If anybody has anything else that they would like to throw out there, please be my guest. The other roles that are in this field, which are field service technicians, clinical engineering, quality assurance, inspectors, directors. Let's see, we do actually have a biomedical engineer sales representative, which is very good because if we are just the techs and we understand certain pieces of equipment, depending on who you're working for, funding is a very big question. So it's actually good to actually have one of us to be on the other side of the phone saying, hey, well, we do have this piece of equipment that will cost a certain amount of money, yet it can be compatible with this. So compatibility is really big. Now, if you have ever stepped foot in the biomedical field for the very first time, the biggest question is, where am I? Well, from my personal experience, I have asked so many overwhelming questions and I felt as though they were redundant and they're a little bit on the silly side, but no question is a dumb question in this field. I've learned the hard way and I learned the easy way. So hopefully I can help you guys tend to rough it out on the floors. Most biomedical tech or engineering jobs take places in medical sites, hospitals, hospice, but it also can put you in different areas such as boats, planes, even in small little, what they're called, like portable CPAP machines and things of that character. I've seen biomeds in the most weirdest of areas, even at a car shop. So not only do you stick within the medical facility, but you can also see yourself in more mundane places as well. So depending on your location, your work can be extremely light or extremely heavy. I cannot disclose those locations. I personally could just say that when it comes down to being a technician or an engineer, your work does pile up on you. Priorities does pile up. Urgencies do come to pass. So do not honestly think that everything is going to be just as easy sailing when it comes to like paperwork or just putting in a pump or things like that. Sometimes it does get overwhelming. In this field, I've learned outside help is great to have. It can push you past your own limits. It can push you past your own form of understanding. If you honestly thought that, hey, well, I believe that this Phillips is only going to stay with this equipment, somebody could come in and throw a hex in it. There's so much more that you can learn within this field just by changing either one word to one screw. It is just that small. When it comes to our, I guess we could say, our way of life, we are readers. We have to read because every single piece of equipment has a book, and the book is ridiculous. It usually covers at least a minimum of 50 pages per equipment. So with that being said, do not hesitate to crack open a book if you feel as though that you need to work on a new piece of equipment, working on old pieces of equipment, let alone other models, other series. These books truly help you, especially when it comes to the next generation of equipment, because some may have the same functions but different faces. And last but not least, if you get lost, your best bet is to start from the beginning. I've never actually had great successes of doing a piece of equipment and I get lost and I try to pick up from where I left off, and the machine turned out to be as great as it was in the beginning. Ooh, I just went on ahead and just started from the beginning. It's better to win some than to lose some. So the more you know. when it comes down to just even the smaller things of life, we really don't know much about the medical field or anything dealing with the machines. Usually, when we just go into the field, it was, oh, I want to be some form of a doctor, or I want to deal with this form of equipment. So, every equipment that you have to put your hands on, they come in form of classes. And the classes are actually handed down from the FDA. So they go from 1 to a 3. In some sectors, it will be 2A and 2B, but it will go from the equipment that is least harmful to a patient to a class 3, which is most harmful to a patient. So some techs and engineers could work on a wheelchair at the same time we can work on a Da Vinci. We have to make sure that we also keep those classes in mind, because not only do we have to treat each piece of equipment with as meticulous care as we can, but we also want to make sure that we have the same quality of preventative maintenance and repair and troubleshooting across the board. So as much as you can lose your life from a bad catheter from the cath lab, the same way you should feel about losing the life of a person fell out of a wheelchair. I know it may sound silly, but you just have to hold everybody to the same standard. Is there a medical device for every specialty? From what I have seen, yes, there is a medical device for every specialty, from cardiology, dermatology, gastrology, endocrinology, rheumatology. Everybody has a form of equipment that is made for them. So, for the younger generation, yes, if you are computer savvy, this is great. Now, for those who have been in the field for a very long time, I'm sorry to inform you, but they're starting to move really into computers. Like, I've actually have my master's in biomedical informatics, and that covered a lot of computers. Perl, which is a medical writing program, is actually a code language. So there's a lot that's actually starting to transcend the modern times of putting your hands on hard-held equipment. So if you're having a hard time now, I advise you to get on a good foot and start quickly, because the next series or the next generation of medical equipment, it'd probably be just a push of a button. Now, I have gotten a lot of questions from high schoolers, just as well as people who have recently graduated from college. What degree is best for this job? There is not one. It varies. This field covers almost every single piece of, I guess we can say, it covers every single aspect of life. So for reading, mathematics, history, I mean, we have to know what happened with the X-ray equipment from 1969 and how it has revolutionized in 2019. I mean, it varies. Every piece of degree will truly be an asset to this community. And it would really be awesome to see if an anthropologist comes into play, but I hope myself too fast. Is human anatomy or physiology mandatory for the job? No, it is not. Don't, if you're sitting right here, right now, and you just got out of college and you never took this class, do not fret, do not get upset. And for those who have been in the field, you already know there's certain pieces of equipment you tend to learn as you go on through life. But no, you do not actually need to know every single piece of equipment to go to every single piece of the body, because most equipment, as you know, can be used in diverse areas and places. Now, as we stated before, there are other functions of the career, so that is very interesting for us to look forward to. And at the same time, who is at the top of the food chain when it comes to the biomedical community? ISO, across the board. And I will tell you why later. So, there are 3 things that we have learned in this community. There's a difference between brand new, refurbished, and depot. So, first things first, we always got to remember paper and pencil and computers are our best friend. Always remember that. That is Gina Walls' rule number 1. Paper, pencil, and computers are your best friend. If you don't know what that means, make sure you always have a paper and a pencil on you, because you will never know what's going to happen when it comes to a regular old day in the workshop. So we're going to go with what people think about brand new, refurbished, and depot compared to what we know. So if we talk to a regular person that says, hey, this looks brand spanking new, they're going to say they just bought it from a store. And, it's all nice put together. He has plastic on it, it's already assembled. It's great. Now, Biomed, when we hear brand new, is not installed, is not assembled. I mean, it is there's no training on it. If we haven't gotten any, it's not in the system if it's supposed to be inventoried. So usually brand new stuff is a happy thing, but sometimes it's just we gotta replace and go through the system. It may be a hassle for some people, and for others it may be a breeze. So hopefully everything could be a breeze on everybody's sector. Refurbished. If we're looking at getting something off the eBay, refurbished is basically remodeled, something that has, been cleaned up to look brand new or to look nice or presentable to the customer. For us, refurbished. It needs to be recalibrated. It needs to be PM. It needs to be fixed. I mean, it's just the whole mindset because even though, yes, we're trying to make sure that the patient gets well, but at the same time, we have to make the machinery look presentable so that not only the staff can use it, but the patient will feel safe. Depot, a warehouse full of large quantity things. But a depot is where equipment go to die. I have personally worked at Tracy Depot, which is in Tracy, California, defense distribution for the United States Army. And it was a depot. And the best thing about it was we grabbed the last models of equipment and we worked our darndest to make sure that not only was it able to help the patient, but we also can check them off to safety and they can save a life. So usually depots are kind of the hardest place to work because you are working with outdated equipment. And if you're trying to call for parts, let alone prices, usually everything is going to be to the latest model. And most of the time, latest models will not be compatible or backtrack to previous models. So it's kind of a hard job, but if you love to solve puzzles and to make every day a journey, work at a depot. So education versus location. The reason why I put this slide up here is because if we're looking at different areas of trying to get a job as a biomed, sometimes in different locations you have to know almost everything computer based. Some people are like technology based or code based, or some people are just doing covers for the equipment, or some places you only just doing straight pumps. I mean, every location has some form of different entity. Now, depending on where you work or where you're being employed, nothing is out of your reach. For example, Department of Veteran Affairs, for anybody who has worked there, we fix everything in the hospital, from television to beds to incubators to refrigerators, microwaves. We did everything in the hospital. So is it fun? Yes. You gotta know a little certain stuff, yes, but it's not as much as you have to know Space Lab and GE and Striker all at the same time because you don't know. It depends on the location. Now, if we if we're looking at the location of certain equipment, calibration is key. And also when it comes to the locations of equipment, you actually have to look at the environment that is in. Because sometimes as a biomed, it is your job to actually get the equipment from a worse shape to a better or to back in this pristine shape. And it works in a lot of ways. But the very best ways for you to do it is make sure that you're following ISO and make sure you're also following their company standards just as well as the standards that you have to uphold at your location. Yes, 3 faces you have to look at on the panel, but as long as you get 10s across the board, you are completely fine. So, heads up, safety is the number one priority. I can't stress it enough. Safety is number one. So please make sure that when you are looking into this job, you have to invest on yourself. So I could tell you guys a really funny story. My very first day at work, I never understood what the job entailed. So I came into work in a suit and I had open toe shoes and my hair was long. I mean, I felt like it was an office job. Yeah, I literally had to go into my locker, put on my scrubs, and put on some booties with some tennis shoes. And I actually had to wear scrubs and somebody else's tennis shoes on my very first day of the job because I did not know what HTM stands for. I didn't know about what happened if you did 1, 2, 3, 4 because even how some biomed colleges train kids. Some are hands on and some is very virtual and others are book. I was straight book. So with that being said, safety is the number one priority. So with this job, it can be dangerous in certain areas because not only do you work indirectly and directly with patients, but you're also working with even infectious disease, viruses, and things of that caliber. So make sure you still keep everything closed and covered as accounted for. Now, so as I said, to know what policies and procedures you are following, please make sure that everything is of ISO standards. If you do not know what ISO is the International Organization of Standardized. I cannot say the word, but the idea is everything has to be of a certain standard. Nobody can fall below the line. So if all X-rays need to be working at 97%, all X-rays need to work at 97%. This is not only for the United States, but this is also internationally. And later I can tell you how that's implemented overseas. Knowing the correct OEM could save a lot of time. So the original equipment manufacturer, that is one of the craziest things about being a biomed because there's a whole lot of them. And you tend to get to know the big manufacturers, which of course everybody would hear, GE, Samsung, Siemens, Stryker, Alaris, there's a lot. Zoll. I mean, we can go down the list. There's a lot of people. So just know that the OEM for one particular equipment, it can follow under another if they're of the same company. So just keep that in mind. If you don't know my rule again, pen, pencil, or paper, and a computer are your best friends. So please keep a log of your repairs and take notes on each equipment you work on. Just I will explain that later on what I mean by that because when I tell you Biomed, if you walk into a hospital, the first thing a biomed will ask is when is the last time that's PM'd. So just keep that in mind. Check for SOPs. So along the way, I have learned that a lot of my predecessors have written SOPs when it comes to certain pieces of equipment. And can I tell you, those SOPs have saved my life. From the beginning of working on an Alaris pump, I actually had the manual and I had to read all of it until about 2 weeks after that. One of my coworkers said, here's an SOP, standard operating procedures. It's just a small shortcut list of what needs to be done on certain PNs, and it's continually updated and modified by anything that needs to be changed. Also, it follows ISO standards. So those are really good. Make sure you keep those in mind. And if you tend to just find one and you want to modify it or make it better, trust me, everybody's idea in this field truly helps. And also for biomed, understand your management. Because some have to deal with brass, joint commission, military has to deal with the commanders and the generals. Some with the United States government, they have to deal with directors, presidents, or the board. So please understand who you are working underneath because that actually lets you know the morality and also the functionality of the workshop or the warehouse you will be in. Yes, hope you all can see me. So, yes, we can. In this particular case, it says that when it comes to medical devices, the process is very strict and you have to take responsibility of every device you pick up. I'm going to stop right there. You have to take responsibility of every device you pick up because you will not know what happens from a person who lifted up a defibrillator and put it down. By the time you picked it up, the handle is gone. No, everybody needs to take responsibility for what has been happening or what has transpired with that equipment. So make sure you handle the equipment based on your organization hierarchy, if they're very particular, with care, and please handle it correctly. This will be used on a patient someday. So some will be held in the back to be used as, a quick change if something else comes down, or you actually have to do it right there on the spot because of the urgency. So you have to make sure that you are taking the job as serious as you can, because just know that if you one false modification or one wrong move, it can be detrimental. So all pieces of equipment have a serial number, model number, UDI number, and the company that they came from and or. So it's always good to make sure that you have that written down, because in certain areas, if you're not working with a general amount of equipment, sometimes you can work for just one company. And if you're working with just one company, it's actually good to understand who is going down the line when it comes to the evolution of a certain piece of equipment. For example, Stryker has came a mighty long way. Hillrom came a mighty long way when it comes to wheelchairs and just bedding, furniture, when it comes to the hospitals. So I'm amazed, and you truly see the history as time goes on. So, and the last thing for this whole paragraph, because we're trying to cut it short, you can move up the field. It is not, trust me, it's not an issue. But for this field, it does take time. It does take patience. So I started off as an intern, and after that, I've been a contractor, and a contractor. And I felt as though that these contracting jobs were just dead-end positions, but turn around, they actually were the best choices I have ever made, because not only did I gain experience, but now I can actually be very specific about a certain piece of equipment, or actually claim a specialty for something that I have done for a mighty long time. So, with that being said, we still see you from as small as a PM sticker. So, or anybody else, like I said before, if a Biomed walks in the hospital, the first thing they're going to ask is, when was the last time that's PM? Most of the hospital staff is going to say, I don't know. Most of them. The nurses may know, but most of the staff is going to say, I don't know. The reason why I say we still see you, because that PM sticker says a lot right there. It does. It says so much. Some PM stickers are actually very detailed, and they will have some type of, I would like to say, if PMs had to be done and there was some type of testing or electricity or some type of current that needs to be measured, things like that, it tends to be on the PM. So from, I can say, going from Maryland to California to Texas to Louisiana, PM stickers are very important. First thing you're looking at is when it was PM. Usually things are between 6 months, 3 months to a year. If you see a PM that's been done about 2 years ago, that says a lot. When you see something that's been PM'd yesterday within the same year, yeah, something ain't right. But yet, those minor mistakes, many people will not catch but us. So please know that anytime that you work on a PM, or a piece of equipment, we see you. So from these 3 pictures is the reason why I say we still see you. From one, at the top left-hand corner of the screen, it's a portable setup that I have adjusted with my team on a TDY or field service. Most of the equipment there, I was a respiratory specialist, so that was my equipment that I worked on. And in particular, the PM stickers told us that these equipments have not been worked on in 3 years. So we had to not only do a PM, but if there was any repair, it had to be done on the spot, no ifs, ands, or buts. So, did that make any sense about how PMs are telling the story? Yes, it do, because this site has been checked on and has all the equipment checked on every 6 months. At the bottom part of your screen is your everyday workbench. So many people are trying to figure out, if you have not been in the field or if you're going into the field, this is the hardest, meticulous, clean job ever. Because I promise you, as soon as I start working on a piece of equipment, I break it apart. I pull everything out, and I'm redoing everything to a T. And usually this is how my desk look like. But it is clean and straightened up by the end of the day. But most of your time, it tends to look like this. Now, at the top right-hand corner, it shows mishandled and neglected equipment. This was actually shipped to us from a very dense location. At the time, COVID has just hit. So this was considered a biohazard. Now, in Biomed, yes, you will be dealing with some type of biohazard equipment. So please make sure that you follow all the CDC rules that they place down when it comes to this. I personally have caught COVID from doing this job, and I am not regrettable at all, because at least I know by the time my hands were done with this equipment, it was going to save that next person's life that was right beside me. So you will be finding some passionate people in the field. So just make sure that, especially when it comes to criticism, don't take it too hard. Just know that out is what we do is very serious. Learning the culture. So hopefully this is not your first time here. If so, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is actually the first HTM mixer that I have attended. However, I have been a Med Expo fanatic since I started in the field of 2014. I love the people. I love the companies. I love the camaraderie, the information, the networking, the classes, the education. There is so much in this community that you can get. And it's a great way to stockpile resources for yourself, for your job, and for anything else that you would need for the generation that's coming next. So, what does it mean by the culture? You know, as you can see, we don't have big, extravagant conferences because not many people know about it. But yet, when we have fun, we have fun. So, in the culture, what do you expect to get? Continuing education courses. They are really helpful, from HTM leadership to radiology to any form of just brand new equipment. I mean, the education is just phenomenal. I have learned about cybersecurity, networking, management, project management, opening up remote locations of clinics. Continuing education, I love it. If I can get an A every day, this will be how I would do it. Publications. Tech Nation, Accurate, MedWrench, HHMI, publications of the field is awesome. It shows the creativity of the community, because there's a lot of ways that people have made these huge pieces of equipment so compact now, to the point that it still amazes me. I'm trying to figure out how portable X-rays is doing the job. Amen. Next up, certifications. Oh, goodness. Well, I know you can't see me. I'm sorry. I know I can't see you, but I can see that probably most of y'all have gotten your CBET certification. If not, go get it. The CBAT, we have Lean Six Sigma, BIET. There's a lot of opportunity to receive such forms of certifications that actually tends to build you up in the community and also make you look very good for future offers. And last but not least, the conferences and the job opportunities. This community has a boatload of conferences, but the biggest one is ICE, Med Expo, and AMI. So AMI is for everyone, just as well as Med Expo and ICE, but ICE is more so for the imaging, and AMI is actually with the huge big wigs of the community, which have done publications and prototypes and things of that nature. So if you're literally just starting out, these are great conferences to go to meet a mentor, to actually have somebody to talk to you, or, hey, I got an internship or, some hours, I can go ahead and spare you some to teach some. So if you guys have the opportunity, please make sure that everybody is a student and everybody is a teacher. You can never be an unteachable teacher, and you can't be an unteachable student. Always keep that in mind. So for the job opportunities, there is a website that you guys can get, which I will be sending out later. HTM jobs, they do offer some things. Technician, they do send out some emails about job opportunities. LinkedIn is very good. If you don't have a profile, get one, and just start adding people from the conference. I mean, it's a professional Facebook. Invest in it. Also, the last thing I have for here is resumes. Now, as a biomed, your resume can probably be all over the place, but I do know one particular individual. Hopefully he is there. His name is Damison Garlett, and he was with Space Lab, if I'm not familiar, but he was with MedWrench for a while too, and he actually helped with really good resumes for any type of experience of the field. So please make sure you keep that on your mind if you're looking for something else. Now, almost to a close, what do success look like in your field? Have you looked in the mirror lately? Because it's you. Not many people understand what we tend to accomplish, and many people don't know that we are stuck in the crevice of a building or basement, or we're in like the corner of somebody's hospital. But we are the true unsung heroes of the hospital. So every time you go to your job and you happen to just go down an escalator 3-4 floors, just remember, within the belly of the hospital comes angels, comes wings, comes life. You guys do applicable and important work downstairs. So yes, you may be overlooked because of your location, but you are not less important than anybody else in the hospital. You are not less important than anybody who's of administration. You are not less important to people who are doing field work compared to those in the workshop. Everybody is important, and everybody needs to lean on each other for true and utter success. So now, the worst part about being this engineer, this technician, is we see our failures every single day. I know you guys have worked on a piece of equipment and you thought you had it fixed. It was 100%. And then as soon as you put on the power button, don't work. It just failed out. So we have to deal with our own frustrations, and it's in our face. So we just have to drop it, move it, keep it going, and just stay strong about it. So you are success, and because you have chosen this field, you are successful. Thank you so much. We did not, and I say we as in the community, because we're still asking for people to just come on. We need more of you. We need more of you. But for those who are here and actually opening up more opportunities for others to be like us, you're successful. For you to save a patient's life, you're successful. For you to fix an equipment that would never turn on to turn on, you are successful. Always keep that in mind. Every time you step foot in your job now, if you just having a very rough day and you just feel as though I can't do it, just know that you're successful, because many people walk through the same doors as you do and never walk back out. And with your help, they can do so. So the last piece of the survival guide of being a biomed. Number 1, don't fall into a slump. Just love the pump. The reason why I came up with that line is because for every single job I have held, I have started on pumps. Pumps, 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 pumps. And the most expensive yet more compatible, and I would say the most international pump known to man, is Alaris. So if you start off in a job and you're just doing pumps for months and months at a time, don't worry. It is literally helping you with your patience and your meticulous manner. Because when you get to the bigger equipment, sometimes you'd be like, I wish I could just do a pump today. So just hold on for your moment. Hold on for your victory. 2, a PDP can help you accomplish the goals you want to meet. As I told you earlier, my old supervisor, Jennifer DeFrancesca, she has taught me about a personal development plan, a PDP. And what it is actually a small little list to get you to truly see how it is to follow your goals and to accomplish them. So within the first 90 days, if you start a new job as a tech engineer, field service, however, the first thing you want to do is go ahead and grab a PDP. First thing you would do is what you would like to accomplish and how long you have it, and then when you completed it. And at the same time, while you're doing this PDP, you can talk to your supervisor, and they can help you with your personal development plan, because that actually helps you build for what you already have. So if you said, okay, by the end of 2020, I want to do 1,000 pumps, and you give it to your supervisor may push you and say, okay, well, hold on. You're doing pretty good. How about we change this to 1,500? And then we give you 2 ventilators. Okay. Go on ahead and accomplish those goals. Make sure you have them laid out. And every time you complete it, you better make sure you have a party. Because sometimes this equipment is endless. So we got to keep the faith. Number 3, write. I cannot preach that enough. Paper, pencil, computer are your best friends. Make sure you write down every single thing. And the reason why I personally say that is because it does keep in track of you and your equipment. And it also lets you know what you have done on the previous equipment that you may change and make better for the new one. So always keep that in mind, because you're basically making yourself better. You're proofreading your future. Always remember that. Number 4, if there are classes that are offered, take them. Take them. Do anybody know how much a class is for GE or a class for Canon, Siemens, Space Lab probably? For these big manufacturers, a class can be thousands of dollars. And sometimes they are actually given for free. Take advantage of it. Not many people have the opportunity, especially if they're working for like a private firm or a small LLC. But for those who are working for the huge hospitals, take the classes, get your certification. So then when somebody from a private firm or school, anybody else walks in, not only did you help save their account, but you also made them a lot more aware of what needs to be given when it comes to a certain company, because you got direct training from them. If the classes is offered, take them. So, last but not least, and I'm telling you this because everybody has to invest themselves in one way, shape, or form. It's better to have your own than to have nothing at all. I will not give you guys the horror stories, but I can say that there are a lot of workshops, a lot of workbenches, warehouses that I walked into, and many people don't have tools. The basic instrument you need for your job, not many people had tools. And it was very hard for the people in the warehouse or wherever they were located to do their job because of the delay and the turnovers they have, because they're borrowing other people's stuff and they have to wait for other people's stuff. No. If you are knowing you're going to be in this field for a very, very long time, I advise you to invest in yourself. Start off with a hammer, a ratchet, a screw, and then most of us need precision tools because of the equipment that you use. So yes, get yourself a regular standard, get you an imperial pack, and give yourself a precision pack. Those are the 3 basic ones. And after that, you're good to go. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the presentation, and hopefully you guys got something from these 16 slides. And I do humbly apologize for my absence for contracting COVID, but I do thank you all for coming and to hear anything that needed to be said within this presentation. So if anybody have any questions, I will speak my email, and the email is jina.walls@gmail.com. So if there's not any questions or comments, I would like to thank everybody, and hopefully I can see you all in person very, very soon.